Another shift, one last kiss from her lips. Another dream you're putting down. After all this time, turns out all you found is one more love.
Today's date is December 13th?
Actually, it's the 15th.
December 15th, 2024. I'm here with Siggie, my grandma. I'm Liam, and thank you for taking this time for me to interview.
You're very welcome. Happy to do it.
And let's get started. Let's start with you sharing your full name.
My full name is Sigrid Rongna Gibson.
Ooh, who gave you that name?
My mom and dad gave me the name Sigrid. My last name, my maiden name was Moller, and it's Norwegian, and this was a Norwegian family name.
Ooh. So, what kind of games do you play growing up?
When I was growing up, we played all kinds of games. My favorite games that I played were outdoor games. I loved running, and I loved playing in creeks, and I loved catching insects, and I loved catching snakes and lizards, and I loved playing, it was called dodgeball, loved playing tetherball at school, really enjoyed hopscotch when I was really young, and they were called creepy crawlies, and we would make these plastic-like critters. We'd cook them, and then we'd have these little rubbery plastic things, and we'd play with them. They were called creepy crawlies and fun flowers. So those were fun. And of course, the usual, Monopoly and Sorry and Life and Checkers, and yes.
Lots of outdoors games,
A lot of outdoor games. I spent most of my formative years outside. Yes. It was wonderful.
It's very fun.
It was. And very lucky childhood that my parents were teachers, and we were able to travel a lot. So we were outside often. We camped.
It's a lot of fun.
It was.
What was your earliest childhood memory?
This is kind of a little bit of a naughty one. Probably my earliest memory was of myself getting outside of our house. We lived over by Roseville High School. This would have been in about 1960 or 1961. And I left in the middle of the night. My grandmother, Bessie Shellhouse, was watching me. And my sister and Chrissy, my sister was only a couple of months old, and I let myself out in the middle of the night and walked over to Woodbridge Park, where two police officers had found me and escorted me back to my very, very worried grandmother. That is my earliest memory.
Just sneaking out?
Sneaking out. Been a rebel since. Oh, goodness.
Did your family have chores?
For me, not really. We had to make our beds, and we were supposed to do the dishes and clean our rooms and that kind of thing. but we did not live on a farm. We didn't have animals other than dogs. We had a dog and we had a cat, but we did not have like farm animals, chickens or geese or ducks or, cows or pigs or so, and we didn't raise our own food. So we did not really have chores that we had to do out of doors. Mostly, I babysat a little bit. My sisters are both younger than I am, so I took care of my youngest sister, Inger, quite often. So I guess that, in a way, is kind of a chore.
Just like normal chores, just doing dishes.
Just normal chores around the house, yeah. Trying to clean up after ourselves.
So, did you have any pets?
Is that on?
Yeah.
Okay. I did. I did have pets growing up. We had a cat, and her name was Thomasina, and she lived to be about 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
She was a calico, and she was a stray, and she adopted us when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. I grew up in Loomis. So anyway, yeah, just real close to Loomis Grammar School. And we had a dog, and her name was Poco. She was a Saint Bernard, and unfortunately she only lived to be about 10 or 11 years old. Yeah, but she was a real sweet dog. And our cat Thomasina was actually a lovely cat. She was really nice, and she was gentle. So yeah, we loved our animals very much. She was a very sweet kitty. Yep.
Do you remember any fads from the U?
I sure do. We had quite a few fads. The 60s were a time of dramatic change, as I'm sure you've heard a lot. We had the civil rights movements. We had more women's movements. And so, I was quite young growing up. I was born in 1958. So the 60s were my growing up years mostly. We had bell bottoms, and we had mini skirts, very mini. We had kind of bouffant hairstyles, and we had hula hoops, and we had slinkies, and we had little funny dolls, Chatty Cathy, and I remember on one episode of, it was called The Twilight Zone, they had a knockoff of Chatty Cathy, which was called Talkie Tina, which was so scary when I was growing up. But yeah, talking dolls were just kind of starting to come in. You pulled a little string, and then it instead of recorded, it either laughed or it talked or whatever. Anyway, they were pretty funny. We had Instantly Funk, which was this gooey kind of stuff, and we had Super Balls, and yeah, we had a lot of Mousetrap was fun. There was a fad. Yeah, a lot of people enjoyed that. But yeah, and loud colors, a lot of psychedelic colors, and people painted their walls so that black lights, made them stand out, made them look neon and stuff. So yeah, it was
lots of stuff.
It was very groovy. Those were some of the fads.
Lots of stuff came back.
A lot of it has come back. As a matter of fact, I bought some clothes that are very reminiscent of my childhood. Kind of fun to see them back again. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So, who was your oldest relative?
From what I can remember, I was a little girl. My oldest relative was actually a great-great-grandmother, and she lived in Lakeview, Oregon. And it was my mother's great-grandmother, and her name was Grandma Tyler. That's all I remember. She was a tiny little old thing, and this would have been back in about 1963 or 64.
Really?
And she was kind, but what I remember the most about her is every year on our birthday, she would send us a $1 bill.
Just $1?
Just $1, and to her, that was probably a lot of money at that time.
Oh,
yeah. So that was, that's all I remember of Grandma Tyler. She grew up in a kind of I don't want to say a hostile environment, but it was a hard life in Lakeview because it was high desert country, and it's very, very cold in the winter and hot and dry in the summertime. Beautiful high desert country, but it was a hard life. However, she lived to be very, very old. I think close to 100. Yeah.
Are you videoing?
You can come through. He's gonna edit it.
Yeah.
It's only audio, not.
No, he's filming it. Bye.
When I was 5.
And when I was in 3rd grade.
Alright. So, how is the world different today than it was when you were a child?
Wow, it is so different. When I was a child, our parents literally would allow us to go outside and run around until dinner time. They always said, come back and, get water, whatever, and get lunch, but we had the world to ourselves. And we lived kind of between Del Oro High School and Loomis Grammar School off of King Road in Loomis, and we had a lot of open space, so we were able to just leave for the whole day and play. And once I had your mother, my daughter, the world was not like that anymore. We felt very nervous about letting our kids play outside anywhere for any amount of time without supervision.
Yeah.
We didn't have very many supervised sports. If we wanted to play sports, we'd just go off and do it ourselves as kids. We weren't supervised really much at all. We were told, right from wrong, and if we got into a sticky situation, to walk away and not do anything to provoke any kind of bad things happening at all. But yeah, it was much, much less supervised, and school was less supervised too. You should have seen our playground.
Oh yeah.
It was all, we had a slide that was called the bumpy slide, and it was super tall. There were no safety features at all on it. And from the time you were in the 1st grade, you could climb up to the top and just go whizzing down. We had bars that we could play on, and there was, if you fell, good luck. There wasn't anything to break your fall. It just landed on the hard dirt. So things have changed that way, and that's a good thing. We could go to school in the back of trucks. You didn't have to be,
really?
We didn't wear helmets when we rode our bikes, at least most of us did not. And we could ride our bikes, all over the place. So things have changed a lot, at least with regard to our parents not being helicopter parents. They weren't watching us all the time. We we were free as birds. And at night we would play ray gun, ray light, you know, where we'd be outside, we'd run away from the cars. And I mean, some of the things that we did would have been a little frowned upon now. So that has changed. Also, and this is a good thing, there is so much more diversity now. When I was going to grammar school, we only had a few Mexican Americans at our school, and we only had a few Japanese Americans, and we didn't have any other ethnic group there to speak of. I mean, this was clear back when I started grammar school in 1962 until I graduated from 8th grade. And I went all the way from kindergarten through 8th grade at Loomis Grammar School, and we had very few ethnicities represented.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and now it is much more diverse and much more open and better. I mean, I think it's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's much better.
Do you wish it was like the same growing up?
Do I wish what?
Would you like wish like it's the same now growing up?
Oh,
Or-
I would have liked to have been exposed to more diverse cultures when I was younger. Yes, I would have really liked that. I have been lucky that I, you know, have been exposed as an adult to a lot more, but I think it would have helped me grow and understand humanity better had I been exposed a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, describe a typical dinner of your family.
Oh my, yeah. Both of my parents were educators. My dad was a teacher at Del Oro High School and a coach, and my mother taught at Loomis Grammar School. And my mother did not like to cook or bake very much at all. She was a very busy woman, and she had 3 daughters. Like I said earlier, I was the oldest, pardon me, but a typical Sunday night dinner, we would all sit around the table and have a family dinner. If we didn't have one every night, my mother tried her best to make sure that we all ate correctly and didn't eat too much garbage. But yeah, she would make sure that we had a green on the table, which was salad or spinach or green beans or, you know, broccoli, asparagus, artichokes. And she would always have some kind of a meat. She would make pot roast a lot and Swedish meatballs, and she'd make rice and potatoes, and yeah, so we would, a lot of times we had things made with Campbell's soup. And like I said, they were both educators, so we had the summers off, and whenever we'd go camping, we would eat things like Dinty Moore stew and hamburgers and Denison's chili, but we'd all sit around and talk about our day, and we would eat dinner as a family at least once a week, if not many more nights a week. Yeah.
Who were your friends growing up?
I had quite a few friends. I was very fortunate. I had 2 girlfriends that were friends of mine as far back as I can remember. And these 2 girls were about my age. They are the children of friends of my parents. So one of them was Leslie Godo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've known her my entire life. And another one, her name is Cynthia Loop. And I've known her my entire life. And going to grammar school, I have to say, I had girlfriends that I went camping with. I had girlfriends that I would go have sleepovers with. All the way through grammar school, we had sleepovers at each other's houses, and it was always fun. Sometimes I'd bike over to their house, or sometimes our parents would give us a ride over. But they were most of my friends were from my school, from Loomis Grammar School, but a couple of them went to other schools, and we'd get together on the weekends. So that was always fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Would they went to your elementary school?
A lot of them did. Leslie did not go to my elementary school. Cynthia went to Penring Grammar School, and Leslie went to Crestmont? No. What was it? Somewhere over, I'm drawing a blank. Warren T. Ike for junior high, and then Kirby Elementary, I think it was.
Did they go to
grammar
Del
school. Cynthia went to Del Oro. Leslie went to Oakmont.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I have one more question from 2.
Okay.
Actually 4, right?
I think that was 4.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 4.
Okay.
Have any recipes been passed down to you from family?
No. I love to cook and bake, but I have to say I don't have any recipes from my mom that I can think of.
No cookers in the family?
No. None from my grandmothers. I don't have any recipes that I have saved or that I make now from anybody. And part of it is because I'm vegetarian / vegan, depending on the day. But so many of the things that my mother made, were foods in the 60s and the 70s, and they were either loaded with calories and I don't want to put my mom's cooking down, but lots of meat, heavy on cream and butter, and I just don't have any foods that I remember loving so much that I wanted the recipe for.
Yeah.
So the answer to that is no, I don't have any recipes that were handed down.
Would is really good, so
what did you say?
I might want a recipe or 2 from you.
Oh, I'll do that. I do love cooking. Let me see. Yeah, I think that'll be
nice.
I think that'll be good. Sit down again, Liam. Let me see what you look like. Perfect. Yeah. Oof. I like that.
Cool.
Can I put this on me too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Okay.
So, what do you believe is the key to a successful marriage?
I believe the key to a successful marriage, honestly, is to have a really good sense of humor, because stuff happens. And I have been married to Guy, my spouse, for almost 38 years. Really? And we've been together close to 40 years. Yeah. So, we've had a lot of ups and downs, thankfully mostly ups, but being able to laugh at ourselves and at each other in not a damning way has helped our marriage survive, I think. Yeah. So, yeah. And I also believe in another key to a successful marriage is not to make fun of one another in front of other people. I think it's really nice. I love being around couples that don't make the other one look bad or try to make the other one look bad in somebody else's eyes. So it's really nice when Guy and I go out, we really try to lift the other person up in front of other people rather than putting them down, you know, unless you're doing it in a silly kind of way, you know. We don't go out of our way to hurt one another's feelings. So that's another key to a successful marriage, I think. And just going with the flow, you know, stuff happens, and talk it out, and, you know, talk it over, and try to find some common ground.
Forgive and forget.
Forgive and forget. Always good.
So, out of all the things you learned from your parents, which do you think was most valuable?
I learned a lot, and I have a lot of little tidbits from my mother that I always remember. But my dad, I think what he taught me is that all life is special, and that every solitary thing on this planet has a niche, and that if you take away one thing, others are going to be harmed in the process. So I think what I learned the most is that life is sacred, and it's fleeting, and it's beautiful, and to appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
I got that from my father, just a complete love of nature. And from my mother, what I take away from her is don't sweat the small stuff, you know, keep a good thought, this too shall pass. So she had a lot of little sayings that I would follow on. And my father kind of was a naturalist, even before his time. He was, you know, a fisherman, and would take us camping and would always tell us about the animals and the plants in the area. So both my sisters and I learned to just really embrace all that is Mother Nature.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is great.
It's fun. Let's see. What was your proudest moment as a parent?
You know, I have a couple. I have my daughter Alex, your mother, and I have two stepchildren who are a little bit older than your mother. And my stepchildren were 7 and 6 when we got together, and your mother, when Guy and I got together, and your mother was 3 when we got together. So they grew up together, and honestly, I have to say my proudest moment with the kids is when they had their own children, and watching them be parents to their own children. So my proudest moment with your mother was when she had you. And watching her reaction to you when she had you. I've never seen a look like that came across her face. It was just one of unbelievable joy, but of like she saw something just so miraculous, you know, that she was able to produce this beautiful being, and she just looked over the moon, and I know she was. So those are my proudest moments, having my children have children and seeing their reaction.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Let's see. When and how did you meet Pops?
Oh, maybe this. I met Pops. Oh gosh. Actually, my friend I was telling you about, Leslie Godo, said that she knew Pops. She was married to Pop's ex-wife. No, yeah. She was, I'm sorry. Let's start over again. I don't like the way I did that. I'm sorry. One more time.
So when and how did you meet Pops?
I met Pops the old-fashioned way. I worked for him. I went to work for him in 1986. Yeah. So that's how I met him, at his office at Gibson and Gibson in Roseville, California. And like I said, this would have been, I guess I started working for him in 1985. And then we started dating in 1986.
Okay.
And then he fired me because he said I can't be dating somebody who's working for me, which I completely understood. So he fired me and then he married me.
Oh.
So that's how that worked out.
I'm glad it worked out.
I am too. It's been a fun marriage so far, knock on wood.
That's sweet. Let's see. How did you choose your kids' names?
Okay, I only had my Alex.
My mom.
Yeah, your mom. And we chose Alexandria. Her father and I chose Alexandria because I kind of wanted a Scandinavian name like mine. And your mother's father was not 110% behind those names. So we kind of looked over a bunch of different names that were in 1982 when she was born that were popular then, or you know, and I didn't want a real popular name. I wanted something a little bit different. Unique. So we talked about Alexa, we talked about Alexandra, and then we decided on Alexandria. And then her middle name is Lorene. And pardon me, I just thought that was a really pretty name. I knew a girl named Lorene, and I just thought that was a really pretty name. So it's Alexandria Lorene. That's how we chose her name. And guys, my stepchildren, Howard was named after my husband's Pops, his father. His father's name was Howard, yes. So cool. And Gina, they named her Gina because Gina's mom's side of the family is Italian, and they wanted an Italian name. Exactly. So that's how the kids' names were.
That's cool.
Yeah.
One thing you want to be remembered for?
I really truly hope that I will be remembered as a lover of life, a lover of all of nature, a lover of justice, and a lover of kindness. I think this world, it is so important to be cognizant of all there is on this planet and how everything works together. Everything is connected, and I would like to think that I will be remembered as somebody who cared about all of that.
That's good. Caring soul. Good way to be remembered.
Well, that would be lovely if I was remembered for caring. Thank you, honey.
Well, thanks for giving me your time.
Thank you for taking it. That was lovely.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
So, we're finished. And I can go home and take a nap.